be this time of year, and we know it's important to check your forecast, check the conditions, because it's going to be a busy weekend out on our roads here in Travis County, and then of course on the water as people are traveling and enjoying Memorial Day and all of those celebrations. Now, the Travis County Sheriff's Office is reminding you deputies will be patrolling those areas, especially around Lake Travis, for drunk or reckless driving.
Plus, the office's Lake Patrol will be out on the water, so you might want to watch for that. Joining us now for more insight is Kristen. She's a spokesperson for the Travis County Sheriff's Office. Kristen, welcome in and thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of activity ahead for sure for you all in the days ahead.
Right, this is always a busy weekend.
Yeah. And we also want to highlight that the roads are one particular area of focus for the Sheriff's Office. Not only are you expecting record-breaking travel, it's also a time when we unfortunately see higher levels of drinking and driving. How do deputies plan to monitor for that?
We'll be staffed throughout the county, and our deputies will be paying close attention to identify impaired drivers and to get them off the roadways. But we're going to have additional deputies in the Lake Travis area, and they'll be looking for impaired drivers, but they will also be especially focused in the Lime Creek Road area, where we also have people who engage in street racing and reckless driving. We want to make sure that we curb that as well.
We know drunk driving warnings also extend out onto the water. People should note they can be charged with boating while intoxicated, just like getting behind the wheel of a car. So how often is that an issue at Lake Travis, and what could someone face if they're caught doing that?
Boating while intoxicated carries the same consequences as driving a vehicle while intoxicated, and our deputies will make arrests for that. It's very imperative that people do not drink while boating, because so much is at stake on Lake Travis.
During these summer holidays, this is a time when a lot of people go out to the lake to try to enjoy not only the sunshine but the water, but our drought has really helped to lower the lake water levels out there. So what would you tell people about the hazards that can cause, and what should they be mindful of?
You know, Lake Travis was never originally intended to be a recreational lake. It was intended to be a reservoir. So when the dam was built, everything that was in that giant cavern that they cut was left there, and they flooded that area. So everything that was there is still there. There are docks down there, there are houses, there's a cement factory. Everything that was there remains. And so there are all kinds of hazards at the bottom. There's an entire pecan orchard down there of 90-foot trees that are still there. And so there are all kinds of hazards that will now be at a more shallow depth than people are used to because the lake level is so low. It's very important to be aware that that's a hazard on the lake.
And that's a great reminder, not only for folks captaining boats, but swimming. When you're jumping off boats into that water, there could be things under the surface that you're not even seeing from up above.
Absolutely. You must be diligent.
So all of this, and your deputies, of course, want to prevent an emergency from happening. But if something does go wrong, what is your advice to people who are out on the water?
The first piece of advice I will give is always wear your life jacket. We have never recovered a body from Lake Travis that had on a life jacket. It is the one thing you can do to almost guarantee you will survive an emergency on the lake. The other thing is to call 911 immediately. It is kind of an odd thing, but sometimes people will wait 5, 10, 15 minutes before they call 911 because they're trying to solve the problem themselves. Make that call and know where you are on the lake. If you don't know your exact coordinates, whenever you make that 911 call, tell the dispatcher what you see. Our deputies are so familiar with the lake that if you give them landmarks, they can find you. The other thing you want to do is you want to have a whistle or a horn, start making noise, start getting the attention of the other boats around you so that people can assist you until we arrive. Bear in mind, our jurisdiction on the lake is 33 square miles, and it takes longer for us to get to you by boat than it does a vehicle on land. So when you make that call, you could be waiting minutes for us to get there, and you might be in a situation where seconds count. So everything you can do to help us get to you faster works in your favor.
Kristen, we've covered quite a bit, but I'm wondering if there's anything else that you would like people out there to remember and think about during this long weekend.
Just remember to be courteous, to pay attention to what you're doing on the lake, be courteous as drivers. And when you're on Lake Travis, another thing we deal with all too often is accidents involving propellers. So make sure that you're paying very, very close attention to who's around your boat and how you're navigating.
Kristen, such good reminders. We want everyone to have a safe and fun weekend, but
Absolutely.
we do want everyone to be aware. And these are some great tips just to keep in the back of your mind if something goes wrong and to prevent that from happening. So thank you so much for joining us
My
today.
pleasure.
And good luck. We know it's a busy weekend for everyone at your agency.
Yes, we want everyone to be safe and we want them all to get home having had a great day.
All right. Well,